Funding for Avery Talks About Stuff was made possible in part by the YouTube AdSense program and by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.
And by Escape Mail. Go to theescapemail.com/Avery and enter code Avery to get 10% off your first purchase. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, otherwise strange content. I know that I kind of gave Thanksgiving a rough ride last video, and I said what I said. But now it's the greater holiday season, and whatever holiday you celebrate, all of those things are kicking off formally. Before we get into a month of winter holidays, let's give fall one last great hurrah with a movie that I saw on Freevee Live that I did not know existed, and oh my god, it has made me lose sleep at night. I don't know about you guys, but my family has a tradition where every Thanksgiving morning we watch the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and at the end of the parade, Santa famously always rides down the Thanksgiving Day Parade. If you're not in America, that might sound really weird. It's to signify the start of the holiday season and was created by capitalism, but now it's just a wholesome tradition that we try to run with and forget the capitalism. You know how America is. So we have a rule that no Christmas stuff is to be had in our house before Santa rides on that sleigh down that parade route. But as soon as his ass is there, it's all fair game. So, Thanksgiving Day, after we eat, my brother and I are like, you know what? Let's start our search for the corniest Christmas movie we can find early. So we put on Freevee Movies that has a Hallmark Movies and More channel. It's basically where they air the movies that I'm convinced Hallmark doesn't even think they can make money off of at this point. And the first one that we see is called Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I was like, no fucking way. They made a corny Christmas movie about Thanksgiving. That takes some balls. So we watched it, transfixed, and I'm going to share it here with you because about half an hour in, I decided that I had to make a video about it. It's been a while since I made like a movie about like a corny made-for-TV rom-com, but it used to be quite a popular genre here on this channel. So let's see if you guys connect with this piece the same way that I did. The whole film, by the way, can be found on YouTube for free. So, now when I say Thanksgiving Day Parade, again, if you're American, you're probably thinking this movie is going to take place in New York City. That's where the famous Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade happens every year. It's broadcast on NBC. Everybody watches it because we have to. I think the government cracks down on us if we don't. But there is a Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade as well. Shout out Chicago. It's not as big as the New York one. Sorry, Chicago. It is kind of like the overlooked little brother of the New York Thanksgiving Day Parade. The Loki to Marvel's Thor, if you will. This is where our story actually takes place, revolving around the Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade. Not only were they ballsy enough to make a Christmas movie about Thanksgiving to cash in on that Hallmark Christmas season just a little earlier, but they also were ballsy enough to, instead of taking a big businesswoman and putting her in a small town, they just kind of did the small town plot line in a big city. I'll get into it. I'm telling you, I have so many questions. And now a word from today's sponsor. Are you a fan of escape rooms but don't want to leave your house like me? That's where Escape Mail comes in. Escape Mail is the escape room in an envelope. It's compact, it's not bulky, and it gives you that like cozy crime-solving vibe. It's great for family game night or date night, or just if you want to hang out and watch your favorite cozy murder mystery show by yourself. It's super compact and you don't have to deal with any bulky boxes or anything. But don't be fooled, there's a lot of stuff in one of these little envelopes. I got episode 1 of Family Secrets, which is their newest ongoing series, and I love the look of everything. It just has this like old-fashioned, I'm in an Agatha Christie novel type of feel. Don't forget, the holidays are rapidly approaching now, and if you've got a puzzle fan, nerd for riddles like me in your life, this is the perfect gift to give them, especially if you want a gift that's centric around spending time and not a ton of money. So, if you go to theescapemail.com/Avery and enter code Avery, you get a 10% discount on your purchase, as well as you support my channel, which is very, very appreciated by me. Thank you to Escape Mail once again for sponsoring the channel, and thank you for listening. It really does help. Now, back to the video.
Buenos días, ¿cómo está?
Buenos días, ¿cómo está?
This is our main character, Emily. She is learning Spanish at this point for an unspecified reason. We learn later that she has a boyfriend who she's been dating for 5 years and who says they're going to travel together one day, but that she needs to be more like cultured before he can take her anywhere. So she's learning languages.
La biblioteca.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Muy bien.
It is true that you should learn the language before you travel to another place, but it's a wild take even for like a shitty TV movie boyfriend to be like, she's a 10, but she only knows one language.
Good morning, beautiful.
Also, oh my god, what video chat service are they using? Does he have a film camera hooked up to his little computer out there?
Did you finish it?
Almost.
Do not hold back. I need your honest opinion.
This man is a marine biologist boyfriend, and he's not right away as outwardly douchey as the evil boyfriends of rom-com movies, but he's one of those, like, well, actually bros, I guess you could say.
It's wonderful.
You didn't find it too tedious to read? I mean, as a layman?
He's like, oh my god, good for you. You read the whole book and understood it?
I'm excited for November 14th and to hear what your question is.
I'm excited for November 14th to hear what your answer is.
Hey, I love you.
But he's got a big question for her when he gets back to the States. But we know that if we have a female protagonist in these movies, we also have to have a male protagonist. Hallmark only knows how to write heterosexual romances. This time it's this man named Henry, who is big business boy.
This your first time in Chicago, sir?
No, I grew up here. Just haven't been back in a while.
That's really all we know about him right now, but I will say they were very brave and flipped the script on having a big business boy who hates Christmas instead of a big business lady. Very challenging of them. Emily is teaching a bunch of school children about the history of the Chicago parade.
He's not really Santa Claus.
What?
No. The real Santa Claus cannot leave the North Pole on Thanksgiving. He is way too busy getting everything ready for Christmas.
And in a clever bit of marketing, she's like, make sure to watch the parade to see if we actually got the real Santa instead of just a look-alike. Henry is specifically the big business boy who is here on a mission. He's been called in to see if the Chicago parade is profitable enough for the city to continue doing it. Remember, capitalism drives all of our wholesome American traditions. Emily also goes to see her friend, who gives her a wedding dress before she's even been proposed to, which just feels like jinxing it for yourself.
It's a 1953 vintage original, possibly worn by someone who lived here in the city.
You know I'm a slut for a good mirror shot, but... But they never turn around. They continue to cover this character for a little too long in that mirror shot to the point where it's not bad or anything. I think it actually gives good depth to this shot when movies like this have very poor cinematography. Typically, we also get to see this marvelous Mrs. Maisel fit. But I'm wondering if they weren't able to turn around because it feels like the natural inclination would be to turn around and they never do. I wonder if there was a reason why we weren't allowed to see the other half of the store. Sorry, that's just my nerdy filmmaker brain kicking in. Emily and Henry have a meet cute, and in true fashion of these movies, they hate each other the first time they meet each other. See, because Emily's favorite bookshop is being shut down. A true tragedy of life. Don't get me wrong. Henry is apparently the one who bought the building and is tearing it down and replacing it. I guess because it's an old building and it's dangerous. So he thinks the best thing to do for public safety is to tear it down. Also valid in my perspective, but also the feelings about losing the bookstore. Truly tragic. So anyway, they butt heads.
It needs to be torn down before it falls down.
And who exactly are you to say that?
I love that line because she's like, who are you to say that this building is about to fall down? And I'm just picturing the building like hanging by one thread and he's like, a person who can perceive reality? What do you mean? Your love of books cannot challenge science, ma'am.
Do you wash your clothes?
I beg your pardon?
Do you have a really great sweater, one that feels right every time you put it on?
I don't.
Well, you don't throw that sweater away because it gets a little mustard on the elbow.
Oh my god, this is the greatest TED Talk ever. She is a true icon. I get what she's trying to say, but also condemned building is not the same thing as a sweater with a mustard stain on it, you know? The mustard stain isn't gonna, like, kill you.
No one buys books anymore. They download them.
Add that to the list of movie quotes that have taken years off my life. You know this was written by a boomer trying to sound young and cool. They download them.
Not Santa. Not Santa. Not Santa.
She's being very nitpicky about who's going to play Santa at the parade.
For some people, this will be their first parade, and for others, sadly, it will be their last.
Wildly morbid take to just get a Santa that you like, but okay. She cares about her job. We'll give her that. Her give-a-damn hasn't run out. Couldn't be me.
The mayor wants to see if the parade is cost-effective for the city.
That's ridiculous. The parade isn't about money.
So she finds out not only that her beloved parade, which she loves so much, might be coming to an end because of late-stage capitalism, but also the hairbringer of this late-stage capitalism is this guy, the guy who's tearing down her favorite bookstore. Of course it is.
You say you grew up here?
I did grow up here.
Who is O'Hare Airport named after?
This is exactly the same energy as when somebody's like, oh, you like that director? Name every single movie they've ever made ever.
Lieutenant Commander Edward H. O'Hare, who earned a Congressional Medal of Honor in 1942 for shooting down 5 Japanese planes.
Is that true? Pretty American.
Where did you watch the parade?
The penthouse of the Beresford Tower in State and Madison.
Of course.
She then, like, gatekeeps the parade from him, and she's like, you weren't standing out in the cold. You're not a real fan. You're a fake parade fan.
You were warm and cozy with your rich family, sipping hot toddies.
Do children drink hot toddies? Aren't those alcoholic? Maybe I'm wrong about what a hot toddy is.
Men like him never get married. They just date supermodels, and then they drive around Italy on their fancy Vespas. Oh, he's George Clooney.
Something that's aged like milk because George Clooney married a badass lawyer lady and they have beautiful children together and he's the biggest fangirl of his wife. We love to see it. She's throwing the fish book in frustration. He's playing chess with himself. They're both going through it. She decides she's going to teach him everything about the parade from her perspective so that he'll fall in love with it like she will and he'll help her save it. So they go on a horse-drawn carriage ride down the route.
You can feel the excitement in the air as giant helium balloons have begun to appear in the sky. Look! There's Elmo!
Honey, get the kids. Elmo's loose again.
Clowns and acrobats!
Hang on a sec. Who carries the insurance for the parade? Is the city liable for any...
May I finish?
She's like, what the fuck? You're gonna talk about lawyers? I wanted to talk about hot chocolate.
If you charged everyone that came to the parade, you could effectively pay for the entire cleanup.
You want to charge people to come to the parade.
I mean, that's what he just said.
You wouldn't understand because you don't have a family.
Jesus Christ, dude. You would understand because you're a lonely bastard. Also, she keeps tapping this. I think that's an iPod Touch. Should tell you about when this movie was made. I don't see anything on the screen. I don't know if that was just because of the sun or because they were supposed to put something in post and they didn't. I've been there. It happens to the best of us.
You want more and more pollen from newer and younger flowers.
So hang on, I'm the bee in your scenario?
She accuses him of being a serial dater and then brags about fish boyfriend, soon to be fish fiance, I guess.
Well, if he hasn't married you in 5 years, he's not going to.
I mean, that's not technically true. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people date for a long time before getting... Why am I arguing the dating logic posed by a 2012 Hallmark movie? Anyway.
I will bet you $5 that I will be engaged by Thanksgiving.
It doesn't sound like she's very confident. She's only betting $5.
My almost fiance sent me books and tapes so I can learn.
Almost fiance is such a depressing sentence.
Yo quiero. That means I do in Spanish.
No, it doesn't.
Yo quiero means I want in Spanish.
Yeah, like I don't speak a whole lot of Spanish, but even I know that.
That's because there's no exact translation of I do.
So you went with I want? Do you take this man to be your husband? I want.
Ask him if he thinks you're perfect just the way you are.
He's like, well, if he really loves you, ask him what he would change about you and see what he says. A situation that can only end well. He then sees her shopping and buying a bunch of ice cream and cat food, which giant mood. Then she runs into him at apparently the only one register that she's allowed to use, I guess. So she hides her ice cream and cat food in the vegetables and then pretends like she wasn't buying it. But then because he actually saw her before, he bought a tub of the ice cream that she wanted anyway because king shit, I guess.
Is there anything you would change about me if you could?
She goes through with asking fish biologist boyfriend if he'd change anything about her, and he's like, no, honey, you're perfect. Which, as my brother pointed out, imagine missing that layup. Imagine answering that question wrong.
You again. Are you gonna get on board today?
Oh yeah, even though her marine biologist almost fiance loves marine biology so much, she's deathly afraid of boats. This will come back later.
Good morning, everybody. I brought you all a little treat.
Nothing says I want my coworkers to be my friends like bringing a cheesecake to work. I actually don't hate some of these shots. I know the bar is underground with these Hallmark movies, but like this symmetrical shot, we've got the mirror shot. There's some creativity going on here. I think their DP knew what they were doing. Good for them.
Do you always have to have the best of everything?
He's insisting on going to the only 5-star restaurant open for lunch in the city, which feels like there would be more than one in Chicago, but anyway. And she's like, rookie. Takes him to this little hole-in-the-wall pizza place, which we all know those mom-and-pop shop restaurants are the best anyway.
Home is the only place you can have naked movie night.
Sorry, what? Oh, this is so funny. This is so funny. Okay, she said home is the only place where you can have naked movie night. Now, that's already hilarious in and of itself. But I swear to you, when I watched this on the Freevee Live version of Hallmark Movies and More, stay with me, they dubbed over where she said naked because I swear she said nutty movie night because Spencer and I had a whole conversation about this. I think that's hilarious.
Here we are. Best restaurant in Chicago.
It's a pizza place.
My man has never seen a pizza before. He's like, what's this?
I've been looking forward to meeting the marine biologist who stole our Emily's heart.
They think he's the marine biologist in that classic person mistakes the person that you're actually going to end up with for your current significant other in a rom-com trope. Her parents are both deceased, so she kind of hangs out with this family friend who runs the place every Thanksgiving, goes there for Thanksgiving dinner.
And my dad raised me. He was a cop. Best guy in the world. He saved this place from being robbed when I was like 9. The robber had a gun, but my dad took him down peacefully and no one got hurt.
Have I been watching Copaganda this whole time and now just found out about it at the 30-minute mark? This is like when you watch a whole movie and then in the last 10 minutes they start talking about Jesus and you're like, holy shit. No disrespect to people who actually lost their lives in the line of duty, but this is a made-up character that absolutely was put in here to shoehorn in a line about, this one cop didn't kill somebody needlessly one time. Give him the Medal of Honor.
Gianna put up his picture as a thank you. And as a warning to other robbers.
Dead cop dad for president. He asks her what her best day ever will be, and she says, well, my wedding will be my best day ever. And he says, well, my best day ever was the day that I was 8 years old and hit a home run and ate 3 hot dogs.
I hit a home run with 2 on base. It was a sunny day. I ate 3 hot dogs.
This man's like a gajillionaire. That's his best day ever. That's actually kind of wholesome.
This is called Buddha. It's one with everything.
They then eat Buddha pizza, which is, I guess, just pizza with everything on it because it's one with everything. Sit with that.
That's the point. Love is a leap you take with each other. You commit to holding tight, jumping off, and facing the world together.
You make love sound like a suicide pact.
What a way to put that.
I have a 5-date rule. I go on 5 dates with a woman. If I'm feeling like it's not going anywhere, I end it.
He says that he has a 5-date rule. He thinks by 5 dates, you either know that you want to commit to a person or you're ready to just cut it off because he doesn't want to drag things out longer unnecessarily if it's not actually going to work out. Which, tell me if I'm just a cold cynic to love, but like that sounds pretty reasonable to me. The worst thing is like when a guy makes you feel like things are gonna work out and they never were going to.
It's just a stupid Santa.
She's looking for one with a jolly smile and a twinkle in his eye.
The coworker is super in love with Henry. It really has no bearing on anything.
I love to party.
It's supposed to be comic relief, but it's just odd and not in a fun way.
You don't want to go out with Henry.
She does that thing where she tells her friend not to go out with the guy that she supposedly hates. Not because she hates him, but because she's totally jealous.
So, do you own any clothing from this decade?
He asks her why she wears old clothes, and she says she likes old clothes, which same. But then we get backstory on why she wears old clothes, which is like simultaneously depressing and just fascinating.
When my mom died, my dad was so sad he gave all of her clothes and shoes to Goodwill.
Oh, so you figure if you buy enough of them, you might one day be wearing her clothes.
What? I don't mean to be insensitive, but I feel like this movie is giving us so many pieces of backstory that we don't need. They're like, hang on, guys. They might be confused about why she's wearing old-ass clothes. Bring up the dead mom. They watched this troupe of elderly people who have been married for forever dancing. I guess they dance in the parade and they rehearse the same day every month without fail. And then they end up dancing. It's actually cute.
I'll drive you.
No. I can walk.
No, I don't mind driving.
It's okay.
In those heels, girl, just take the ride. Such a beautiful wedding dress. Don't waste it on marine biologist guy. But anyway, marine biologist guy gets home.
You cut your hair.
Just a little.
Oh, don't worry, it'll grow back.
You're killing me, guy. I didn't even notice the first time that she's carrying the biggest bag.
Well, I thought we could go to Jim's for dinner. Giano is making lasagna.
Mother's expecting us for dinner.
She's like, let's go to my favorite restaurant, honey. And he's like, nah. But she's convinced the next night when they do get to go to her favorite restaurant that this is the night he proposes. And I know you're going to be shocked, but this is not the night he proposes. He's on his computer at the table. Where did he even find a plug?
I have known you for 5 years. And I have loved you for a lot of that time.
This line took me out the first time I saw it. He gets up to give this whole speech that equates to not, will you marry me, but hey, I know you hate boats. Will you go on a fishing excursion with me for marine biology reasons?
I know, it is a big step, and we will be in each other's faces, close quarters.
So hot.
You know how I feel about marriage after what I went through with my parents.
Your parents have been happily married for 30 years.
Exactly. That is a lot to live up to.
I simultaneously hate this man and also think he's one of my favorite Hallmark movie characters of all time. She loses her shit. She's like, this is the last straw. And she breaks up with him there in the restaurant. Good for her. Know what you want and go after it.
No, I'm being on it.
She put on a pretty hat and everything. Fuck you, marine biologist. And then who rolls up right as she goes outside crying but Henry? He convinces her finally to get in his limousine and not walk.
I don't really drink, so I'm beginning to feel it.
It's ginger ale.
She thinks she's getting drunk off champagne, but it's ginger ale. So then she just has to realize that that's just her feelings. Am I drunk, or do I have too many feelings right now? Who's to say? Then she gets up and sings karaoke. This movie is simultaneously like the most cliche movie I've ever seen, but also it's nothing like I've ever seen.
How could you be drunk? You only had one glass of champagne.
He's like, ma'am, you've only had one glass of champagne.
You think you can fill me with champagne and seduce me?
He's like, ma'am, this is a Wendy's. And then she throws up on his shoes. You see what I mean with like all the beats of cliche? But it's just like a little bit off. Then they're locked out of his apartment. And while he's trying to get somebody to let him in, he has this bizarre take about her fear of boats.
Maybe you're afraid of boats because you were never sure if Brian was the right guy for you.
Brother, what? She falls asleep on the roof, so he's just like, guess we live here now. And they both sleep on the roof. That move. Oh, God, not you. It's not that I voluntarily stayed here with you in the fucking cold all night. Gross. Her hair looks way too good for sleeping on a windy roof with a big tarp over her all night and the whole throwing up thing.
Ooh,
He then makes fun of her for the karaoke thing and shows off his dance moves. She tries to give the wedding dress back and the friend is like, no, keep it. And she's like, I'm never getting married. Look at all the cat food I own, which is hurtful. The friend is more upset about her breakup than she is.
I mean, the disappointment and the humiliation.
I can't say anything against this character because we've all been there. This is a mood, and I hate to admit that. We then see a montage of parade planning to the most AI generated sounding Christmas song I've ever heard. I'm convinced after watching 9 or 10 of these movies so far this season that I could just write a holiday song on my own. You just have to cram in as many seasonal words that you can and try to make them tangentially rhyme, and that's it. Just make it sound jazzy, and that's it.
The reindeer fly, I wave goodbye to Santa with a kiss.
Reindeer know that mistletoe is just one sleigh bell ride away. See, you can do right off the top of my head. You can do it. It's okay. I believe. I love how he just snipes this picture of her, which, by the way, this is not at all the picture that he took on that phone, but he just takes a picture of her without knowing and then just puts it in a frame like they're dating. He's known her for 2 weeks. Rare positive clown representation as we see the two of them going to a children's hospital with a bunch of clowns that are there to entertain children. And not one of the children seems to be screaming. I would have been quite frightened.
Naked movie night.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Encouraged by Emily, Henry is having naked movie night, eating peanut butter out of the jar in your underwear, living the dream.
Hey, Gretchen. I think I finally understand what you were talking about. People really do deserve to have everything they want in life.
Okay, so then he calls who we later find out is his ex-girlfriend, Gretchen. The reason why I haven't mentioned her before is because I've watched this movie twice and somehow I've missed the part where she comes up both times. So I guess it was not at all important. He calls her out of the blue to be like, I've finally found what love means. It's not with you, though.
I'm beginning to understand what it's like to sit around at home, eat peanut butter, and watch movies nightly with someone you really care about.
Which is so cold. I can't. Can you imagine your ex? I don't care that this character is the stereotypical crazy girlfriend. Imagine your ex calls you out of the blue and it's just like, hey, remember how I didn't love you? I love someone now. It just hangs up.
How do you know what time my meeting is?
Will you come?
Towing that line of cute and stalkery guy. He gets her to face her fears of boats because love conquers all, including boat phobias. What's the official word for that? I could look it up, but someone's going to tell me in the comments.
What are you wearing?
Also, she's wearing modern clothes, which I guess is a visual representation or supposed to be of her obtaining personal growth through a healthy relationship, which isn't a relationship yet, but I don't know. I like the old school vibe. Me when I'm trying to pretend that I know what sports ball is. They go to a basketball game and it's a high school basketball game, and I'm convinced that it was supposed to be a professional basketball game and they lost their location at the last second because there's a kiss cam. When have you ever seen a kiss cam at a high school basketball game? And then they end up on the kiss cam because of course they do, and then they do a kiss. So they both run out of there because they're just like, oh my god, we kissed?
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
I think they think they're back in high school.
I mean, we didn't have any choice in the matter at all.
No, we didn't have any choice at all. You know that when the kiss cam happens, they point a gun at your head and go, you gotta kiss right now. Silent assassin cam comes for us all.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe in true love?
He then asks his chauffeur about what the meaning of love is. You know you're down bad when you're asking the Uber driver about relationships. The guy's like, I'm just on the clock, man. Is the timer running?
Fell in love with my wife the first moment I saw her.
Aw, that's so wholesome.
How did you know it was true love?
I just do. Found myself thinking about her when I wasn't with her. If she was there, I was happy.
This guy is the best guy that I've seen in a rom-com in a while.
I used to drive past her house late at night just to be close to her when she slept.
What? Hang on, guy, you were so close to the sun that your wings melted. What are you talking about?
I asked her to marry me after our 3rd date, but she didn't say yes until our 5th.
Wait, were you continuously asking? Like, hey, you want to marry me? Hey, you want to marry me? Hey, you want to marry me?
Well, no man is looking for a serious relationship until they fall in love.
Isn't that depressing, ladies? / anyone who dates men. Then the friend, not the coworker friend, the wedding dress friend, she convinces her to go to his hotel and ask him on a real date and see what happens. But then who's standing outside but Gretchen, the ex-girlfriend, who tells her that she's the current girlfriend, which pisses off Emily. And then, of course, just as the elevator doors slide close, we get the real definition of their relationship.
I got your message and I hopped on a plane. I'm here to share your life and your naked movies and your peanut butter.
So she's the ex that he called up and was like, I know what love is now, and she understandably took that as an invitation to get back together, which is not what he wanted.
Gretchen, this is my fault.
Yeah, this is your fault. Why would you do that, Henry? And then right when he goes to talk to her, who shows up but marine biologist boy?
You're as rare as a gray pearl in an Italian oyster.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I'm with you, Henry, but don't you feel like if this movie was actually framed around that guy, that this would be framed as like an acceptable thing? Like, I see guys in Hallmark movies get away with a lot of dumb shit. And girls in Hallmark movies. Really, everybody in Hallmark movies does shit. It's equal opportunity dumb shit. What I'm saying is this is the same quality of proposals I see over and over again. We just know from framing that it's bad this time. Sorry. Movie geek coming out again.
Will you marry me?
Emily, don't do this.
What a bizarre proposal this is.
Who is this guy?
He's somebody that I work with. Yes, Brian, I will marry you.
Yay, they're going to be so happy.
Why are you crying?
Because I'm so happy.
That's not why. She's planning to go on the boat trip with him, and she seems just so excited.
I'm so happy.
This is the second one of these shots where they're both laying in bed the same way, thinking about calling each other at the exact same time. 2 shots. We've gotten 2 of these shots. You could have cut at least one of them. But here it is, folks. We have finally arrived to the end of the movie, the day of the actual Thanksgiving Day parade.
It's his recommendation that we don't change anything.
So Henry advises that you don't change anything about the parade, that it is perfect, that you shouldn't capitalize on it, and Emily's very happy to hear that.
Bought a piece of property to build and fund a new Ronald McDonald House.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes, it's an old bookstore over on Main Street.
Oh, and it turns out that he's decided to put a Ronald McDonald House where her favorite old bookstore was. Which is wholesome, but also kind of a gotcha moment. If somebody's like mad at you for taking away their bookstore and you're like, well, I'm putting a charity there, so you don't get to be mad anymore. She then, even though she's managing this parade, which is live TV and probably very stressful, I've never worked in anything like that, please tell me if you have, she finds time to take a detour and find his old family home.
And the kids are still up there if you want to go up. The Sumner family opened its doors to the orphan kids who live in the Cutman house every year so they could watch the parade.
And oh my god, Henry is an orphan. She gate-kept the Thanksgiving Day parade from an orphan. I love this moment that you can only see in movies like this, where the girl character is like, I'm mad at you. Hang on, his parents are dead? Never mind, he's hot again. And then she goes to marine biologist boy who's working on his computer again and not paying attention.
Yes.
And she breaks up with him. Again.
Why do I wear vintage?
Because you're quirky.
Because you're not like the other girls, babe.
I know you want to get married, and I'm giving you that.
Giving me that?
Uh-oh. Mayday. Mayday. Danger ahead.
I'm offering you a chance to sail around the world with me, a marine biologist.
I'ma give her marine biology. Bitches love marine biology.
Where have you been? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Is everything okay?
You got sidetracked? Girl, you've done nothing on this parade route.
Sorry, I did the best I could. What?
I couldn't find a
Santa.
And then the coworker's crying and she's like, we couldn't find a Santa.
Wait, what are you telling me, Donna? There's no Santa?
So of course, all is lost. There is no Santa to end the parade. But then who takes it upon himself to be Santa? That's right, it's Henry. He didn't even have to push the old Santa off a roof.
Where's Brian?
Brian doesn't know anything about me.
Bro, pull the beard back up. The whole thing was you didn't want to like ruin it for the kids. You're ruining it for the kids. You're ruining the magic. And then they have that moment where she's like, wait, that wasn't your girlfriend? No, we broke up years ago. I love you.
I came back to have Thanksgiving dinner at Jim's with you and to ask you to marry me.
And he asks her to marry her, not skip the dating process altogether, like it's the Regency period. But they do indeed get engaged.
This is the best day of my life.
Let's get snowed in.
And that's it. That's the end. They get engaged on the Santa sleigh. That's the last float of the parade. And then presumably they get married right after that. I don't know if anybody finds this as hilarious as I do, but I hope you do, because when I saw this, I immediately wanted to share it with you guys. So here we are. We've done the thing. I've been recording for like over an hour, and it's time for me to sign off for now. Thank you again to today's sponsor, Escape Mail. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Everything you do to support this channel means the world to me. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around. I post nonsense all the time. And remember, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTuber who say so because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. I forgot something. What did I forget? Oh, if you want to enable my nonsense, become a member or consider it. You get extra perks and yeah, all that good stuff. Thank you. We appreciate all of you. Good night.